Contrary to popular belief, but caffeine, if abused, can be a drug. Although caffeine has been ingrained into our societal functioning, it's something you need to use to function normally or to be productive, that is not always the case. It should always be an enhancer, but never a crutch for you to actually function as a regular human being. And this is why your caffeine addiction may be ruining your life on the low key. So let's tap in.
With it, now we gotta celebrate it. I was raised on the island, I wake up to play. Feel higher than a pilot, shame I couldn't stay. I had to follow the dollar, oh my ghetto.
Welcome back to the channel. Wagwan, how you doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this beautiful sunny day. Hopefully the weather's okay in your area. So my channel is all about providing you with a daily dose of edutainment. My goal is to make sure that you are laughing, that you are entertained, but also that you are learning something along the way. Now, when it comes to caffeine, how much is too much, right? You guys are, if you have you
ever had a dream that you want him to do you so much you could do anything?
Watching this video, you probably think you may have somewhat of a caffeine issue. You probably already have an idea or have an inkling that caffeine may be an issue to you personally. Caffeine has been marketed as such a stress reliever and something that makes you more productive. But when abused, it can really be negative, right? Some of the things, we know caffeine can keep you up at night, right? You probably used it to finish an essay last minute, type. Do some study, stay up late at night and study and cram for the exam the night before, stuff like that. But what you may not know is that caffeine has a half-life of about 8 to 10 hours. That means after that time period, half of it is still in your body, still in your system, activating and functioning, right? So before I get into someone's personalized story about it, I just want to let you know that if you want to get the maximum benefits of sleep and actually have good deep sleep, you want to have a caffeine curfew of about 2 p.m. So by 2 p.m. that should be your last cup of coffee, and ideally you shouldn't have more than 1 or 2 cups of coffee per day. I'll get into some more of the other strategies to better manage your caffeine usage, but first of all, I'm gonna get into someone's own personal experience growing up with caffeine. So check that video out.
Hi folks, Ergelt here. Great Shots asked me to tell the story of my own caffeine addiction, so here it is. I'm going to start the story in a rather odd way. When I was a kid, my mother kept a small vegetable garden, and she had trouble with slugs. Her solution was to place saucers in the ground, so the lip of each saucer was even with the ground. Then fill the saucers with Coke. By morning, each saucer was filled with the corpses of slugs. The sugar attracted them, the caffeine paralyzed them, and they drowned. I started drinking Coke as a teenager. In college, it was almost the only stuff I drank. My dorm owned its own soft drink machines. I took the job of refilling the machines and monitoring deliveries so I could be sure we'd never run out. I was already a Coke addict, and I acted like one. In the summer of 1973, between college semesters, I took a job on a survey crew for Mobil Oil. The crew went all over southern Michigan, working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. We began each workday by stopping at a diner and drinking a lot of coffee. That summer was also when I began to experience migraines. About every 2 or 3 weeks a migraine would hit me, and I'd be completely helpless. The crew would just leave me on the seat of the pickup truck. By the next day I'd be back to normal. From that point forward I was hit with migraines every 2 to 3 weeks. In the years following college, I was the guy at work who drank the most coffee. At the end of the day, I'd usually be the one to take the last dregs of coffee from the coffee urn. This stuff had been in the urn all day, and it came out looking more like syrup than coffee. Then I'd get off work and start right in on the Coke. Very likely I was suffering from caffeine intoxication much of the time. But you know, it's hard to tell. I'm reminded of something Lady Seneca said about PMS in women. No matter what the source of your feelings, you feel them. That's your emotional state. It's real to you, and you have to deal with it. Nobody diagnosed me with caffeine intoxication. So the fact that I was moody, or agitated, or losing sleep, or my heart was beating too fast, or I was a bit paranoid at times, it was never connected by my doctors or myself to caffeine. I was once stopped for speeding at 50 miles per hour through a 35 mile per hour zone during a blinding snowstorm with a foot of snow on the ground. There was no traffic to speak of. The cop asked me what the heck was I doing. I wasn't an habitual speeder, but I do know I was juiced up from coffee from work when they let us out due to the storm. Migraines continued until 1980. By then the severity and frequency had increased. I had to discontinue playing basketball with friends because it would trigger a migraine every time. The migraines would last longer then, up to 3 days, and might occur as often as once a week. I'd been going to doctors, of course. Their solution was to prescribe a drug which contained a fungus called ergot and caffeine. The migraines had finally reached an intensity that could not be ignored. Doctors were unable to tell me what to do. So I started examining what was different about my life from people who didn't get migraines. The glaring difference was the caffeine I was consuming. I discontinued the ergot caffeine drug, even though it meant more pain from the migraines. I stopped drinking any soft drinks with caffeine. I quit all coffee. In other words, I went cold turkey. It was hard. I'm lucky I had an interesting job because it kept me focused and sane. I got the headaches, I got the depression, I got the lowered blood pressure, I got the cravings. It was sheer torture to smell coffee, and I smelled it constantly from all the other coffee drinkers around me at work. But within 6 months, all of the migraines were gone. Completely gone. And the cravings for coffee and Coke were gone. To me, it's a very great irony that medical treatment for my migraines was making them worse. This is one of several episodes in my life that has made me wary of accepting doctors' advice without questioning it. It's made me a more careful consumer. In the years since I quit, it's become possible to surf the internet and find medical opinions linking caffeine to migraines. But the average doctor may know nothing about it even today. These days I drink mostly herbal teas and water. I occasionally drink a cup or two of white tea, black tea, green tea, because I like those teas. I don't feel myself to be addicted now. I can go with purely herbal teas if I want to, without any withdrawal symptoms, and I often do. And that is the story of my own caffeine addiction. Folks, if you'd like to tell your own story about caffeine, I'd love to hear it. Please feel free to reply to this video. Even if you're still hooked, you can tell us what you're consuming and your thoughts about what you'd like to do in the future. Thank you for watching.
So what I want to get across the message in this video is that caffeine isn't necessarily bad for you. It's more often that the amount that you're consuming that makes it bad. It's like if you go into the gym, you pick up the same amount of weights every single day, your muscles are going to adapt and get used to it. So if you're drinking coffee every single day or on a regular basis, your body gets used to it, and you need more and more of that coffee to get the same effect, right? So what you should be doing is tapering, at least for a minute. Maybe you might not be able to go cold turkey, but taper off how much you're drinking of caffeine. Maybe one less cup every single day until you're drinking nothing. And then once you get to a point where you're not drinking any caffeine for a little while, implement it slowly into your work life or your life again. Maybe one cup of coffee every other day, 1 cup of coffee here, 2 cups of coffee the next day. Don't allow your body to get acclimated to the same amount of caffeine intake every single time, right? Less here, less some days, and a little bit more the other days. Less some days, a little bit more the other days. And again, caffeine curfew of 2 p.m. But if you want to know the deeper strategic strategies to maybe quit or even go deeper with me and really understand why you became addicted and how to overcome it once and for all, check out my free mini email series, Truth of Addiction, linked in my description and pinned comment. I help you overcome not only caffeine addiction, but also pornography addiction, alcohol addiction, weed, gambling, all the above. So check that out, link in the description. And if you are not addicted to caffeine, ask yourself, can you go 2 weeks without drinking caffeine? And if you can't go a week or two, even 1 week, can you go a week without drinking caffeine? If you can't even go 1 week without drinking caffeine, then you're probably addicted to it. I'm just saying. And if you experience withdrawal symptoms along the process, then you were probably addicted to it. Go a week or two, 2 weeks. 2 weeks is like the ideal amount of time. If you go 2 weeks without drinking it, then you're probably okay. But more than likely, if you found this video, you have some, issue going on, low key, right? So check out the mini course in the description. But yeah, God bless, much love, peace and joy, namaste. And always remember, if it doesn't feed you, don't water it. I'll see y'all in the next video. Alright fam, subscribe to the channel, check out some other videos, other addiction related videos, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Don't leave the channel. Deuces.
I toss my cap and move on to the next. Can't wait for the day I toss my raps and move up on the net. Can't wait for the day we holiday by waters of the sea. See, I seen it and she